The spaceship flew through the stars, heading for a new planet. Inside, a young alien girl named Zuri was excited. She had always dreamed of visiting a world like Earth. Zuri had bright green skin and big, curious eyes. She looked at the starry sky through the spaceship window, dreaming of the adventures that awaited her. Suddenly, a loud noise filled the cabin. The spaceship shook and rattled. "Oh no!" Zuri cried. The control panel blinked red. She tried to fix the problem, but it was too late. The spaceship spiraled down, landing with a soft thud in a colorful forest. Dazed, Zuri stepped outside. The air was fresh and smelled sweet. The trees were tall, with strange fruits hanging from the branches. She took a deep breath, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. Zuri had arrived on Earth. As she walked through the forest, Zuri noticed many fascinating things. The flowers were bright and colorful, and little animals scurried around. She had never seen anything like it. Zuri felt like she was in a dream. While exploring, Zuri spotted something shiny on the ground. It caught her eye. Curious, she walked over to it. There, nestled between the leaves, was a strange object. It looked like a bright red ball, but it had unusual patterns all over it. "What is this?" Zuri wondered, picking it up. The moment she touched the ball, it made a funny noise. It beeped and flashed lights. Zuri jumped back, surprised. "Is it alive?" she thought. After a moment, she laughed at her own fear. "No, it's just a toy." Excited, Zuri began to play with the toy. She tossed it into the air and caught it. It bounced and rolled away, making her chase after it. She giggled, feeling joyful. For a moment, she forgot about her spaceship and the problems she faced. Zuri noticed how the toy had different buttons. She pressed one, and it made a cheerful sound. "This is fun," she exclaimed. She danced around the toy, imagining all the games she could play. Little did she know, this toy held a secret that would change everything. As she played, Zuri heard footsteps behind her. She turned around to see a human boy staring at her with wide eyes. He looked to be about her age, with messy brown hair and a curious expression. "Whoa, you're not from here, are you?" he asked, taking a step closer. Zuri felt shy, but also excited to meet someone new. "No, I'm not. I'm Zuri. I came from another planet," she replied, her voice full of enthusiasm. The boy grinned. "I'm Jake. Nice to meet you, Zuri. What's that thing you have?" He pointed at the toy in her hands. Zuri held it up proudly. "It's a toy. I found it in the forest. Isn't it cool?" Jake laughed. "It looks like a toy, but I've seen something like that before. In my world, we use it for, well, something different." Zuri tilted her head, confused. "Different? How can a toy be different?" Jake took a deep breath, trying to explain. "In my culture, we use that too. Make babies." Zuri's eyes widened in shock. "Make babies? But it's just a toy." She couldn't believe what she heard. She thought toys were meant for fun, not something so serious. "Yeah," Jake continued, seeing her confusion. "It's hard to explain, but it's really important for humans." Zuri felt her cheeks flush. She had no idea that something so playful could have such a big meaning. "But how does that work?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. Jake chuckled, realizing how funny the situation was. "Well, I can't explain everything right now, but let's just say that it helps bring people together." As they talked, Zuri began to laugh. "So you're telling me this toy is not just a toy? It has a secret?" "Exactly," Jake replied, joining in her laughter. "And here I thought you were just playing with it like a regular toy." Zuri felt a mix of feelings. She was amazed, confused, and a little embarrassed. This toy that brought her so much joy had a much deeper meaning for humans. She looked at the toy again, now seeing it with new eyes. They continued to play, tossing the toy back and forth. Zuri felt happy. Despite the surprise about the toy, she enjoyed spending time with Jake. They shared stories about their worlds, laughing and learning about each other. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the forest, Zuri realized she was glad her spaceship had crashed. If it hadn't, she would never have met Jake or discovered this magical place. Zuri knew that this was just the beginning of her adventure on Earth, and she was excited to learn more about humans and their strange toys. The Human Boy. As the sun set over the forest, Zuri and Jake sat on a log, still talking and laughing about the strange toy. Zuri felt a warmth in her heart. She was happy to have made a friend on this new planet. Jake was different from anyone she had ever met, and she wanted to know more about him. "Tell me about your world, Jake," Zuri said, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "What is it like to live on Earth?" Jake thought for a moment, scratching his head. "Well, it's pretty cool. There are lots of places to explore, like mountains, rivers, and cities. People here love to play games, watch movies, and hang out with friends. There's always something to do." Zuri nodded, fascinated. "What kind of games do you play?" "We play all sorts of games. Some are played outside, like soccer and tag. Others are board games or video games. It's a lot of fun," Jake said, his face lighting up. "What do you do on your planet?" Zuri smiled, remembering her home. "On my planet, we have different games. We play with light and sound. We can create things with our minds. It's very exciting. But I've never played a game like soccer." Jake's eyes widened. "You've never played soccer. It's so much fun. We should play together sometime." Zuri giggled. "I would like that. But first, I need to learn the rules." "Don't worry, I can teach you," Jake said, feeling excited. "It's easy to learn. You just kick the ball into the goal." As they talked, Zuri noticed how Jake was easy to be around. He made her laugh, and she felt comfortable sharing her thoughts. She loved how he listened to her stories about her planet, even if he didn't understand everything. "Tell me more about this toy," Jake said, looking at the bright red ball. "I can't believe you thought it was just a toy." Zuri laughed. "I really thought it was for playing. Now I know it has a special purpose for humans. It makes me think about how different we are." "Yeah, it's kind of funny," Jake agreed. "But that's what makes it interesting. We can learn from each other." Suddenly, Zuri's expression changed. "But what if I do something wrong?" she asked, a bit worried. "What if I don't understand your customs?" Jake shook his head, smiling kindly. "Don't worry about it. We all make mistakes. That's how we learn. Just be yourself, and I'll help you." Feeling reassured, Zuri smiled back. "Thank you, Jake. I want to learn everything about Earth. It's so different from my home." As they continued their conversation, Jake noticed the stars beginning to twinkle in the darkening sky. "Look," he said, pointing upward. "You can see the stars really well here. They look beautiful." Zuri looked up, her eyes wide with wonder. "Wow, they are so bright. On my planet, we have stars too, but they look different." Jake pointed to a particularly bright star. "That one is called the North Star. It helps people find their way at night. Do you have something like that?" Zuri thought for a moment. "We have stars that guide us too, but we use a special light from our ships to navigate. It's not the same as looking at the stars." "I'd love to see your spaceship someday," Jake said, full of excitement. "What does it look like?" "It's shiny and round, with colors that change when we fly. Inside there are many buttons and screens," Zuri explained. "It's like a dream." "Can you show me?" "I want to see it," Jake exclaimed, his eyes bright with enthusiasm. "I can try," Zuri replied, feeling a mix of pride and nervousness. "But it's broken right now. I need to fix it first." Jake nodded. "That's okay. We can work on it together. I'm good with machines. My dad has taught me how to fix things." Zuri felt grateful for Jake's offer. "That would be amazing. Thank you, Jake. You are a good friend." As night fell, the forest filled with sounds. Crickets chirped, and a cool breeze rustled the leaves. Zuri looked around, feeling both safe and curious. She realized that being on Earth was not so scary anymore. Jake stood up and stretched. Let's explore a little more before we head back. There's a pond nearby with glowing fish. I want to show you. Glowing fish? Zuri asked, her eyes wide with excitement. I've never seen that. Come on. It's awesome, Jake said, leading the way through the trees. Zuri followed closely, her heart racing with joy. She was thrilled to be on this adventure with her new friend. As they walked, they talked more about their lives. Zuri learned about Jake's family, his favorite foods, and his school. She told him about her own family and the games they played back on her planet. Zuri felt like she had known Jake forever. Their friendship was growing, and she was excited to learn more about Earth and its wonders. With each step, Zuri felt more at home. At that moment, Zuri realized that even though she was far from her planet, she had found something special on Earth, a friend who understood her and shared her excitement for discovery. Total shock. As Zuri and Jake walked toward the glowing pond, excitement bubbled inside Zuri. She couldn't wait to see the fish that lit up the water. The forest was alive with sounds, the rustling leaves, chirping crickets, and the distant hoot of an owl. Everything felt magical. When they reached the pond, Zuri gasped. The water shimmered in the moonlight, and tiny fish swam below, glowing in bright colors of blue, green, and pink. They are beautiful, Zuri exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. Jake smiled, happy to see her reaction. Aren't they? They glow at night to attract food and stay safe from predators. Zuri leaned over the water, mesmerized by the fish darting around. I wish I could swim with them, she said, feeling a bit sad that she couldn't join the glowing creatures. Jake chuckled. You could. I bet you're a great swimmer. Why don't you try? Zuri shook her head. I can't swim like you. The water here is so different. Come on, just dip your toes in, Jake encouraged. Taking a deep breath, Zuri stepped closer to the edge and slowly dipped her toes into the cool water. A shiver ran through her, but she felt brave. It feels nice, she said, giggling as the fish swam by her feet. Jake watched with a grin. See, it's fun. He splashed a little water at her, and Zuri squealed with laughter. She splashed back, and soon they were both laughing and playing near the edge of the pond. After a while, they sat down on a big rock next to the water, catching their breath. This is the best night ever, Zuri said, her heart full of joy. Jake nodded in agreement. Yeah, I'm really glad we met. You make everything more fun. Zuri smiled, feeling warm inside. She was grateful for Jake's friendship. But then she remembered the toy and the shocking truth he had shared. Jake, she said slowly, about the toy. What about it? He asked, looking curious. When you told me it was used for making babies, I didn't understand, Zuri confessed, her cheeks turning a little pink. It still surprises me. How can a toy do something so important? Jake shifted, feeling a bit awkward. It's a little complicated, but I can explain more. In my culture, when two people care about each other, they might want to have a family. That toy helps them in that process. Zuri frowned, trying to process the information. But it looks like just a ball. It's hard to imagine it has such a big role. I get it, Jake said, trying to be patient. But it's not just about the toy. It's about the love and connection between people. The toy is just one part of it. Zuri thought for a moment. In my culture, we have different ways to connect. We don't use toys like that. She paused, feeling confused and curious. Do you really love someone just because of a toy? Jake scratched his head, thinking. No, not just because of the toy. Love is about caring for someone and wanting to be together. The toy can be part of that, but it's not the only thing. Zuri felt a rush of emotions. She was shocked and a little scared. What if I don't understand this love thing? What if I mess it up? Hey, it's okay. Love is different for everyone. You don't have to rush into anything, Jake said, his voice gentle. You can take your time to learn about it. Zuri sighed, feeling a bit more relaxed. Thank you, Jake. I want to understand, but it seems so complicated. Jake smiled reassuringly. We can figure it out together. Just like we learned about the glowing fish, everything takes time. Zuri nodded, feeling grateful for Jake's support. Okay, I will try. Just then, a loud noise broke the peaceful night. A rustling sound came from the bushes nearby. Zuri's heart raced. What was that? She whispered, eyes wide with fear. Jake turned his head, looking toward the sound. I don't know. Let's be quiet and see. The rustling continued, and then a small creature jumped out. It was a raccoon, its eyes shining in the moonlight. Zuri let out a laugh, relieved. It's just a raccoon. Jake chuckled too. Yeah, they can be funny little guys. They like to explore and look for food. As the raccoon wandered closer, Zuri felt her fear disappear. Look at it. It's so cute, she exclaimed, her earlier worries fading away. Do you want to feed it? Jake asked, reaching into his backpack for some snacks. Zuri watched in awe as Jake tossed a piece of bread to the raccoon. The creature sniffed the food and grabbed it with its tiny paws. It's eating like a little human, Zuri laughed. Yeah, they're pretty clever, Jake replied, grinning. As they enjoyed the moment, Zuri felt a sense of comfort. She was far from home, but she was learning about Earth and making new memories with her friend. Even though she felt shocked about love and the toy, she knew she could take her time. The stars twinkled above, and Zuri realized she was beginning to feel at home on Earth, especially with a friend like Jake by her side. Learning about each other. The next day, Zuri woke up feeling excited. She had made a new friend, and she was eager to learn more about Jake and Earth. After a quick breakfast of fruits she found in the forest, Zuri headed out to meet him. When Zuri arrived at their meeting spot by the glowing pond, she found Jake waiting for her. He was tossing small stones into the water, making little splashes that danced in the morning light. Good morning, Zuri, Jake called out, grinning widely. I'm glad you're here. I have a surprise for you. A surprise? Zuri asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. What is it? Jake gestured for her to come closer. I want to show you my favorite place in the forest. It's really special to me. Okay, lead the way, Zuri replied, her excitement growing. They walked together through the trees, the sun shining brightly above. Zuri took in the sights and sounds around her. Birds chirped happily, and the air was fresh and cool. She felt happy to be exploring this beautiful planet with her new friend. After a short walk, they arrived at a clearing. In the middle was a small, clear pond surrounded by vibrant flowers. The water sparkled in the sunlight, and Zuri gasped in delight. It's so pretty. Jake smiled. This is my secret spot. I come here when I want to think or relax. It feels peaceful. Zuri nodded, understanding the importance of a special place. I love it. It feels like magic. They both sat down on the grass beside the pond, taking a moment to enjoy the beauty around them. Zuri watched as a butterfly landed on a nearby flower. What kind of animals do you have here? She asked, eager to learn more. Jake thought for a moment. We have a lot of different animals. Some are big, like bears and deer. Others are small, like rabbits and squirrels. And of course, there are birds of all kinds. What about on your planet? Zuri smiled, remembering her home. We have many strange creatures. Some can fly without wings, and others can change colors to blend in with their surroundings. They are very different from Earth animals. Wow, that sounds amazing. I wish I could see them, Jake said, his eyes wide with interest. Zuri felt proud to share her world. One day I will show you, but you must tell me more about your world too. Sure, Jake replied, excited. What do you want to know? Do you have school? What do you learn? Ziri asked. Yes, we go to school to learn different things, like math, science, and history. We also learn how to read and write, Jake explained. It helps us understand the world better. Ziri listened carefully. What is math? Jake chuckled. Math is about numbers. We use it to count things, measure things, and solve problems. It's really useful. Ziri's eyes sparkled with curiosity. Numbers, like how many apples are on a tree. Exactly, Jake said, impressed. You're a quick learner. What about history? Ziri asked, her mind racing with questions. What is that? History is the study of what happened in the past. We learn about important events and people who changed the world, Jake replied. Ziri thought for a moment. On my planet, we learn about our ancestors and how they lived. It helps us understand our culture and traditions. I'd love to hear more about your culture, Jake said eagerly. What are some traditions you have? Ziri smiled, excited to share. We have a festival every year to celebrate the changing of the seasons. We sing, dance, and tell stories about our history. It's a time of joy and togetherness. That sounds awesome, Jake exclaimed. We have festivals too, like birthdays and holidays. They are a chance for families to come together and celebrate. Ziri nodded, feeling a connection with Jake. It's nice to celebrate with others. It makes us feel happy and loved. As they continued to talk, Ziri felt a bond growing between them. They shared stories about their families, friends, and dreams. Ziri learned that Jake had a younger sister who loved to play soccer, while Jake learned that Ziri had a brother who was good at flying their spaceship. After a while, Ziri noticed something. Jake, you seem to know a lot about your world, but do you ever wonder about other worlds? Like mine? Jake looked thoughtful. Of course, I'm curious about everything. I want to learn about different cultures, foods, and ways of life. Ziri felt a spark of excitement. Maybe we can learn from each other. I can teach you about my world, and you can teach me about yours. Sounds like a great plan, Jake said, beaming with enthusiasm. We can share our knowledge and experiences. It will be fun. They spent the rest of the day sharing stories and laughing together. Ziri felt a warmth in her heart, knowing that she had found a true friend in Jake. Despite their differences, they were united by their curiosity and desire to learn from each other. As the sun began to set, casting a golden light over the pond, Ziri realized that she was no longer just an alien girl from another planet. She was a friend, exploring a new world with someone who cared about her. Ziri knew that this adventure was just beginning, and she couldn't wait to see what else they would discover together. New ideas. The sun rose brightly the next morning, filling the forest with light. Ziri woke up feeling excited about her friendship with Jake. She couldn't wait to see what new ideas they would come up with today. After finishing her breakfast, she hurried to the glowing pond to meet him. When Ziri arrived, Jake was already there, sitting on a rock and looking at the water. Good morning, Ziri, he called out with a big smile. I have been thinking about some ideas for us to try today. Good morning, Jake, Ziri replied, her heart fluttering with excitement. What ideas do you have? Jake stood up, his eyes shining with enthusiasm. How about we create something together? We can mix our cultures and come up with a new game or activity that combines Earth and your planet. Ziri's eyes lit up. That sounds amazing. I love the idea of creating something new. Great, Jake said, jumping off the rock. What do you like to do for fun on your planet? Ziri thought for a moment. We play games that require teamwork and creativity. One of my favorites is called Light Dance. We create patterns with our lights while moving to music. It's beautiful. Light Dance. That sounds incredible. How do you play? Jake asked, leaning closer, eager to learn. Ziri explained, we form groups and use our light to make shapes in the air. We follow the rhythm of the music, and everyone works together to create a stunning display. It's like painting the sky. Jake's imagination ran wild. Wow, we could try to recreate that, but instead of light, we can use colors and maybe some dance moves from Earth. Yes, Zuri exclaimed. We can use colored ribbons and music. It will be a mix of both our worlds. Jake nodded, feeling inspired. Let's gather some supplies and find a place to practice. They quickly set off into the forest, collecting colorful ribbons and finding a wide, open space near the pond. Ziri tied the ribbons to sticks, and Jake helped her set up some rocks as markers on the ground. As they worked, Ziri noticed how much fun they were having together. This is great. I love how we can share our ideas, she said, smiling. Me too. It's exciting to think about how we can combine our cultures, Jake replied. We are like a team. Once they had everything ready, they decided to start practicing. Jake pressed play on a small speaker he had brought, and music filled the air. Zuri felt the beat in her heart. Let's begin. They danced around the pond, waving their ribbons in the air. Zuri tried to teach Jake the movements from her light dance. At first, Jake stumbled, but he laughed and kept trying. You're doing great, Jake. Just feel the music. Zuri encouraged him. They both giggled as they danced, learning from each other. Zuri felt happy to see Jake enjoying her culture, and Jake loved how Zuri was patient and fun to work with. After practicing for a while, they took a break, sitting on the grass, catching their breath. This is harder than it looks, Jake said, wiping his forehead. Zuri laughed. It takes practice. But you're getting better. I can see you're starting to understand the rhythm. Jake grinned, feeling proud. Thanks. I really want to get it right. Maybe we can invite more friends to join us once we perfect the dance. Zuri's eyes widened with excitement. That's a great idea. We can make it a big event. Everyone can learn and have fun together. Yes, Jake agreed, feeling the energy building. We could create a festival, a mix of Earth and your planet's traditions. People could bring food, music, and games. Zuri clapped her hands in delight. I love that. We can share our cultures with everyone and have a great time. They spent the rest of the day planning the festival, discussing what they would need. Zuri suggested they could make colorful decorations, while Jake talked about the different foods they could prepare. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, they felt a sense of accomplishment. They had created something special together, and their bond grew stronger with each idea they shared. Ziri, Jake said thoughtfully, I think we're doing something important. We're not just making a dance. We're creating a bridge between our worlds. Ziri nodded, her heart swelling with happiness. Yes, and it feels wonderful. I can't wait to see everyone come together. It will be a day of friendship and joy. As they walked back to the pond, Ziri thought about how much she had learned from Jake. He had shown her the beauty of Earth and how important it was to connect with others. Jake turned to Ziri and said, You know, this festival could be the start of something new. We could learn from others too and keep sharing our cultures. Ziri smiled, feeling excited. I love that idea. We can continue to learn and grow together. There's so much to explore. The two friends made a promise to work together, to share their cultures, and to learn from each other. As they reached the glowing pond, Ziri looked up at the stars, feeling grateful for this adventure. She knew that they were just beginning to discover the wonders of each other's worlds, and she was ready for whatever came next. Together, they would create new ideas, new friendships, and a new understanding of what it meant to be connected, no matter where they came from. Growing friendship. The days turned into weeks, and Ziri and Jake spent more time together. Each day was filled with laughter, new ideas, and shared stories. Their friendship was growing, just like the colorful flowers blooming around the glowing pond. One sunny morning, Ziri woke up feeling extra excited. Today, they would practice their dance for the festival. She quickly ate her breakfast and hurried to the pond to meet Jake. When Zuri arrived, she found Jake already there, stretching and warming up. "Good morning, Zuri," he said, smiling. "I can't wait for us to practice today." "Good morning, Jake," Zuri replied, her energy matching his. "I'm ready. Let's make our dance perfect." They set up their space near the water, tying the colorful ribbons to the sticks and placing the markers on the ground. Zuri could feel the excitement in the air. She was glad they were sharing this experience together. As they began to practice, the music played softly in the background. Zuri showed Jake the steps again, guiding him through the movements. "Remember to feel the music and let your body move with it," she said, demonstrating a spin. Jake watched closely and then tried to follow. He twirled, but his foot caught on the grass, and he stumbled. "Whoa, that was not my best move," he laughed, shaking his head. Zuri giggled, encouraging him. "It's okay. Just keep trying. Everyone makes mistakes when learning something new." With each attempt, Jake grew more confident. They laughed and danced, feeling the rhythm and joy of their friendship. Zuri noticed how much Jake had improved since they started. He was becoming a great dancer. After practicing for a while, they took a break, sitting on the grass to catch their breath. Zuri looked at Jake and said, "I'm so glad we decided to create this festival. It brings us closer." "Me too," Jake replied, smiling. "I feel like we understand each other better every day. It's nice to have a friend who cares." Zuri's heart warmed. She realized how special their friendship had become. "I've learned so much from you, Jake. You show me how wonderful Earth can be." Jake looked thoughtful. "And you show me how to see the beauty in my world too. Your stories about your planet are amazing." As they talked, Zuri felt a little nervous. She had something important to share. "Jake, there is something I want to tell you," she began, looking serious. "Back on my planet, friends sometimes give each other gifts to show their feelings. I would like to give you something special." Jake's eyes widened in surprise. "A gift? That's so thoughtful. What do you want to give me?" Zuri smiled shyly. "It's a small crystal from my home. It glows like the stars, and it reminds me of friendship. I hope you like it." "Wow, that sounds beautiful," Jake said, feeling excited. "I would love to have something special from you." Zuri nodded, feeling happy to share a piece of her world with him. "I will bring it tomorrow." The next day, Zuri arrived at the pond with the crystal carefully wrapped in a leaf. Jake was already waiting, his face lighting up when he saw her. "Good morning, Zuri. Are you ready to practice?" "Good morning, Jake. Yes, but first, I have something for you," Zuri said, holding out the leaf. Jake opened it carefully, and his eyes widened as he saw the glowing crystal inside. "It's beautiful, Zuri. Thank you so much. I will treasure it always." Zuri felt a rush of happiness. "I'm glad you like it. It represents our friendship." Jake smiled widely, holding the crystal close. "And I want to give you something too. It's not as special as your gift, but I hope you like it." He reached into his backpack and pulled out a small wooden carving of a bird. Zuri's eyes sparkled with joy. "It's lovely. Thank you, Jake. It looks like a bird from my planet." "I made it myself," Jake said proudly. "I thought you would like it because you love flying." Zuri beamed. "I love it. It's perfect." She carefully placed the bird next to the crystal, feeling grateful for their growing friendship. After exchanging gifts, they began to practice their dance again. This time, they felt even more connected. With every spin and twirl, they expressed their joy and friendship. The world around them seemed to fade away, leaving only the music and their laughter. As they danced, Zuri noticed something new. The flowers near the pond began to sway in rhythm with them, as if they were joining in the fun. "Look at the flowers," Zuri exclaimed, pointing. "They are dancing with us." Jake laughed. "That's amazing. It's like the whole world is celebrating our friendship." As the day went on, Ziri and Jake continued to practice and share stories. They spoke about their families, dreams, and the things they loved. Each story brought them closer together, and they learned to appreciate their differences. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in beautiful colors, Ziri felt a sense of peace. She realized that she had not only found a friend in Jake, but also a part of herself that was growing stronger. "Thank you for being such a wonderful friend, Jake," Ziri said softly. "I feel so lucky to have you in my life." Jake smiled warmly. "I feel the same way, Ziri. You make every day brighter, and I can't wait for the festival." With their hearts full of joy, they continued to dance under the glowing sky, knowing that their friendship would only grow stronger with each passing day. A new beginning. The day of the festival had finally arrived. Ziri woke up early, feeling butterflies in her stomach. She was both excited and a little nervous. Today would be a special day, a day to celebrate their friendship and share their cultures with others. After a quick breakfast, Ziri dressed in her favorite colorful outfit. She had brought some beautiful fabric from her planet, and it flowed like a gentle breeze around her. She looked in the mirror and smiled, feeling ready for the day. When Ziri arrived at the glowing pond, she saw Jake setting up decorations. He was hanging colorful ribbons and lights in the trees, and the whole area looked magical. "Good morning, Ziri," Jake called out, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "Look at how beautiful everything is." "Good morning, Jake. It looks amazing," Ziri replied, her heart racing with joy. She could feel the energy in the air as more friends started to gather around. As more people arrived, Ziri noticed a mix of humans and aliens coming together, each excited to be part of the celebration. Everyone was wearing colorful outfits, and the laughter filled the air. Ziri felt a sense of belonging among her new friends. "Are you ready for the dance?" Jake asked, handing her a small speaker to play the music. Ziri nodded. "Yes, I can't wait to show everyone what we've created." With the music playing, Ziri and Jake took their places in the center of the gathering. They looked at each other, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. "Remember, just have fun," Jake encouraged her, smiling. The music began to play, and they started their dance. Ziri led the movements, guiding Jake through each step. They twirled, spun, and waved their ribbons high in the air. The crowd clapped along with the rhythm, cheering for them. As they danced, Ziri felt a rush of happiness. She could see the joy on everyone's faces, and it made her heart swell. This was what she had hoped for, a celebration of friendship and connection. After their performance, the crowd erupted in applause. Ziri and Jake beamed at each other, feeling proud of what they had accomplished together. "That was incredible," Jake said, breathless. "I can't believe how much fun that was." Ziri nodded enthusiastically. "It felt amazing to share our dance with everyone." As the festival continued, Ziri and Jake moved through the crowd, talking to friends and enjoying the delicious food that everyone had brought. There were dishes from both Earth and Ziri's planet, and the flavors were unlike anything they had tasted before. Ziri tried a small round fruit that Jake called a grape. "This is sweet and juicy," she exclaimed, her eyes lighting up. Jake grinned. "I'm glad you like it, and you have to try my favorite, pizza. It's a special bread with toppings." Ziri's eyes widened in curiosity. "What is a topping?" "Like cheese and vegetables. You will love it," Jake promised, leading her to the food table. As they enjoyed the feast, Ziri felt more at home than ever. She was surrounded by laughter and friendly faces, and it warmed her heart. She loved how everyone was eager to learn from each other and share their stories. After they finished eating, Ziri and Jake gathered everyone around for more fun activities. They played games from both worlds, and everyone joined in, laughing and cheering each other on. It was a wonderful sight to see so many different beings coming together. At one point, Ziri shared the game of light dance, inviting others to join her. "It's a game where we move together to create patterns," she explained. "Let's see how many can join in." With music playing, Zuri led the group, showing them how to create beautiful shapes with their bodies and ribbons. Everyone joined in, and soon the forest was alive with color and movement. Jake watched with joy as Zuri helped others find the rhythm. "You're a natural leader, Zuri," he said proudly. "You make everyone feel included." Zuri smiled, feeling grateful for Jake's support. "I couldn't have done it without you. You helped me feel comfortable here." As the sun began to set, painting the sky with brilliant colors, Zuri felt a wave of emotion. This festival was not just a celebration of their friendship, it was a new beginning for everyone involved. She saw how they had all come together, learning from each other and celebrating their differences. As the evening continued, Zuri stood next to Jake, watching the stars twinkle above them. "Today was perfect," she said softly. "I never imagined I could feel so connected to others from different worlds." Jake nodded, his expression serious. "This is just the start, Zuri. We can keep building our friendship and learning from each other. We can create more festivals, share more stories, and explore new ideas." Zuri's heart raced with excitement. "Yes, I want to keep exploring and sharing our cultures. Together, we can show everyone that friendship knows no boundaries." With that promise in their hearts, Zuri and Jake looked out at the gathered friends. They realized that their adventure had only just begun. The festival had sparked a flame of connection that would continue to grow and inspire others. As the last of the daylight faded, the group lit lanterns, sending them floating into the night sky. Each lantern carried a wish, a dream, and a hope for the future. Zuri watched as her lantern drifted away, filled with joy and gratitude for her new life on Earth. With friends by her side and a bright future ahead, Zuri knew that she had found her place in this world. Together with Jake, she was ready for whatever adventures awaited them, knowing that their friendship would guide them through every challenge.